Hello, everybody. Today I am privileged to have Mary Oosterhouse on here, a very, very dear friend of mine, and she's going to share with you her story and how this industry, network marketing, has brought them to where they are today, but the amazing lifestyle that she has as a result of it, but also some of her challenges along the way, because everybody has that. So Mary, I really appreciate you sharing this with everybody. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nina. Well, I'm sitting here in northern Michigan, Traverse City, actually, and I've just come back from my winter stay in Los Angeles. That is one of the benefits, obviously, of being in a network marketing company. You get to choose where you live and when you live there. So right now, I spend my winters in California, Southern California, and usually spring, summer, fall here in northern Michigan in Traverse City, and I love it. My story starts back in 1969 in a very small little town called Simi Valley in Southern California. Some of you may not know about Simi Valley. It is now the home of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. That's its claim to fame right now. But at that time, it was just a sleepy little town in Southern California. And we lived there mainly because my former husband, Roland Oosterhouse, was going to college, and I was teaching in one of the local elementary schools. So it worked out well for us to be in that location. Now, when we were back in Simi Valley, there was a woman that lived there in Simi Valley named Madeline Trottier. And Madeline and Roger, French Canadians, had started their Shackley business in that little town also. And they had tried to do a French restaurant in a primarily Hispanic neighborhood. So the French restaurant failed. And when someone introduced them to Shackley, they thought, well, this is an opportunity, as well as Madeline had severe health issues and challenges, which Shackley, through the miracle of good nutrition, really allowed her to have a very, very full life. Well, in 1969, I was teaching. I thought I was very healthy. I was in my 20s. And when I came home from after teaching, I would do the laundry, put it in the washing machine, get it into the dryer, and that was as far as it would go. Because by that time, we also had a one-year-old child, Todd, our oldest boy. And the clothes just never made it past the dryer. But that fatigue that I felt, I didn't think was a bad health issue. I just thought everybody feels this way when you have a child and you're working full time and you're always tired. Roland was working in a gas station to help the family economy, and someone came into that gas station and said, "Hey, would you like to feel better?" That is the opening line. Would you like to feel better? Now, I couldn't believe it that Roland told this person, "Yes, what do you have?" Well, the person introduced Roland, first of all, to Madeline Trottier. Roland was riding a motorcycle at the time, and he drove over to Madeline's house, and Madeline Trottier talked to Roland about protein and Vitalea. That's the only two products we were first introduced to. He brought them home to me and said, "Hey, this lady said this would make you feel better. You feel better, not him. You feel better." Because I think he was hoping those clothes would get out of the dryer. Anyway, I did try them. I tried them for 30 days because Roland assured me that we'd get our money back if we didn't notice results. And you know what? Within about 2 weeks, I noticed results. I was starting to fold the laundry, but my whole energy level just increased tremendously. Well, we both decided, Roland and I, that a better life could be had in Michigan. We'd been introduced to Shackley, but frankly, we were not thinking of doing it as a business. It was just going to be good products. And one of the smartest things Madeline Trottier did was she introduced me to Shackley Skincare, which was a different name at that time. Now we have the youth products, which I still think are the greatest skincare products on the planet right now. I've been using them for several months, and I have noticed an improvement in my skin. And at 75, you are always looking for something to have good skin, because that's a sign of health, you know. Well, the lady, Madeline Trottier, introduced me to the skincare. So we loaded up our little Datsun, and we had a little green Datsun at the time. We drove across the country, And little did we know that the most valuable thing in that car, other than our son Todd, was the distributorship that we had in Shackley and the products that we carried home with us from Shackley. We came to Michigan, and for 2 years, we used our college degrees and we taught school. I taught school, Roland taught school. And then Roland was feeling that the hassle of teaching was maybe not as lucrative as he'd like it to be. And so he went into selling insurance. But in insurance, every Monday somebody called and said, how much did you sell? How much are you going to sell? He had a boss, and he didn't want a boss. And I was at that time substitute teaching, found myself pregnant with a second child. And in 1972, we decided there's got to be a better way. Well, I have to add at this part of the story that our uplines, Madeline and Roger Trottier, never, ever gave up on us, never lost contact with us. Through all this 2 years of using products, ordering a little bit, they would come to Michigan and give a meeting, an in-home meeting. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have any of social media at that time. So they had to literally physically come to our home, give a meeting, and try to encourage us. And I guess in 72, when I realized I was going to have to give up taking care of our children and leave the children with another person, I thought maybe, just maybe, Shackley might be the answer for us. And so we had a conversation, Roland and I, with the Trottiers, and we started our Shackley business. It wasn't long before we were very successful. In fact, in 73, which was just a year later, we had our first Shackley automobile, and we went on our first Shackley trip to Hawaii. And in Hawaii in 73, we sat at the feet of Dr. Shackley and listened to him talk about the marvels of nature and how he was just utilizing what was in nature. He wasn't producing something other than what he saw in nature. And that really stuck with me. We also saw a caliber of people in Shackley at that time that I thought to myself, this is where I want to spend my life. These people are top shelf, high integrity, very high caliber people. And I just got back from Cabo in April. I went to Cabo with our senior sales leaders that had achieved that trip. And you know what? I saw the same thing. Quality people, high standard people, ethical people. And I thought, we are in good shape with this group of business leaders now in our business. Well, so we achieved that first convention, and it was amazing how our business just grew and grew and grew. But it wasn't without challenges. I was nursing our third child, our little girl, and many times in the dead of winter, we would travel an hour and a half, 2 hours to do a meeting for someone, and we were taking our infant child, and we had to line up babysitters at home for the other two. You know, you're so lucky now, those of you who are doing this business, that we have things like Zoom. You know, we can, right now, those of you who choose to listen to this video will hear my story, and I haven't had to leave my office here in Traverse City, Michigan. It's kind of cool, isn't it? And I'm all for technology. I love the fact that so many people have latched onto it, especially Nina Staple, who is the person who I'm doing this Zoom call with right now. But anyway, at that time, it was a sacrifice to be leaving the home, traveling with an infant, coming home, processing orders. We didn't have the corporation behind us in the direct selling as far as people ordering from the home office. We had to keep an inventory in our homes, a large inventory, because it was quite a ways from California all the way to Michigan to get products. And there were snowstorms, and there were truck strikes, etc. And so it was a challenge. And at one time, I remember Roland and two of our members, our business leaders, drove all the way to Minneapolis in a snowstorm to go pick up products, because we were without products because there was a truck strike. And so we had to go all the way to Minneapolis to pick up products. But as I reflect on all those times that were challenges, every single bit of it was fun. You know, it was a little bit nerve-wracking because I thought, will we get our PV this month? Will we make it? But we were running 10,000 personal volume every month because we were breaking out or business leaders developing our organization. And one of the things that I learned early on is that your organization wants to be part of a family, part of a community. And so as I have reflected on what made our business develop, what made our business grow, it's because we had dinners, we had picnics, we always invited our members into our home. They shared our life with us. And that was a very important part of growing this business. In 1976, we became key coordinators, and in fact, Forrest Shackley Jr., who was the son of Dr. Shackley, pinned us as key coordinators. And then in 1979, we made master coordinators. So it took us about it took us from 1973 when we really got started to 79, so 6 years to make master coordinator. That wasn't the fastest it was done, but it was a good pace for us. And then in 1989, we made lifetime master coordinator, which meant we had held that top title for 10 years straight without ever reverting, which doesn't mean anything to new people, but it means that we kept a certain level of business. And frankly, it wasn't that much of a struggle because we always were talking to more people and more people about our product line. And one thing I know, that if you are in Shackley, you must understand the value of our product line. You can't sell something you don't use, something you don't believe in, because people buy from you. You are the face of Shackley. That's what I realized about Roland and me. We were the face of Shackley. They trusted us, what we were saying about our product, because after all, they weren't going to know the results until they tried them. So it's very important for you to understand our product line and to use it and to know the benefits of it. Now, I'm not a nutritionist. I do not know everything that some people know, but I know enough to know that these products are fully guaranteed and that these products always work. In 2008, a new title was established in Shackley called Presidential Master Coordinator. And that is the most highest title you can achieve right now in Shackley. And Roland and I achieved that title. In fact, we got a Mercedes when it was first brought out, because that was one of the perks of becoming that title. But through all this growing and achieving, the most important thing for me has been that our family is very healthy, and not just financially, but emotionally, because as parents, and I hear this a lot from some of the young families that are now joining us in Shackley, you can be there for your children. You can be there for your family. You don't ever have to sacrifice what you feel as a family member to your success in your business. And that's been really the most important part for me, is that I've never had to compromise my integrity. I've always been able to stay true to my own values and yet be very successful in Shackley. So that in a nutshell is my story. Nina, if you want to ask me some questions, I'm open.
No, one of the things that you commented on, Mary, was the stability that you have had, and you said it wasn't really that hard to keep it. What do you think that is? Why do you think that you always have been able to maintain that master coordinator and above level?
Well, one of the things is that we always had goals in this business. We didn't treat it like a hobby, and we didn't say to ourselves, well, maybe we'll do this, or maybe we'll reach this or that. We always goal set. And I can remember many a time coming home from meetings, and because at that time it took 15 first level business leaders to reach a certain goal, master coordinator, I would write down the names. These are the people I think will make business leader to help us achieve our goal. If we help them, it will be helping us. And so I think it's very important in the early days, and frankly all the time, to have a goal of what is it that you really want out of this business. I think intention is so important in any facet of life, but certainly in a multi-level company, the way we have it in Shackley, you've got to have goals. It cannot be a hobby for you if you're serious. Now, it can be a hobby if you just want it to be, There isn't anyone that's going to call you and say, what did you do this month? What will you do next month? Unless they're trying to help you. And then, of course, that will be there. But the stability really comes from always looking forward and having a goal in your business.
And Mary, I remember you telling me one time that when you've got a goal, you're willing to do whatever's necessary to get there. And I remember you talking about your kitchen table and how you had to clear that off to be able to have people coming in. Because you'd have all kinds of business stuff on there. And do you want to talk, because as a mom, I think that moms, well, 90% of the women in network marketing are women. Mm-hmm. And I think that moms have so many things on their plate, but they're the best multitaskers. So share that, because I will share after that something you made a huge difference for me on.
Okay, well, it's true, as Nina said, in the early days, because our office was in our home, in our dining room table. We now have an outside office, by the way, and we have a full-time business manager that manages that office for us. But in those early days, we did all of it, the packing of the orders, the writing up the invoice, because we didn't have computers. Computers were not even invented back then. So everything was handwritten. So our dining room table was our desk, our packing table. So every time we had a meal, I had to clear all that off, set the table, and then clear the table and bring back all the business stuff. And we had meetings in our home, and we had a small home. And so I know you're going to think this sounds ridiculous, but we used to clear out our front room so that we could have chairs in our front room. We would put our front room on our patio, and in winter that was not so easy. We'd have line up all the chairs. But again, I say it was fun because we were working toward a goal. And at that time, the goal was to go to Hawaii. And we knew we had to have a certain amount of volume, a certain amount of business leaders in order to qualify. And so we did whatever it took, and it was successful for us.
And you know what, Mary, that's why you guys have maintained that. I really believe that is because you built such a strong base that it just continues going on and on. But it's still the same thing today. Maybe we don't have all the people into our home that we can sit and do a Zoom meeting with, 20, 30 people on it, or with 2 people or with 1 person like we're doing now. But it's still getting out there and making those connections with people. And if you have to do it 5 times a day, this is the part I think is so amazing today for young moms. Yeah. Because they can do so much of their business without ever leaving.
It's incredible, isn't it? When I think about what I see some of the young people doing today that I saw and met and talked with in Cabo, and they have 10 and 15 appointments a day, but they are not running from here to there and here to there. They are doing it the way you and I are doing it right now.
Yes.
Like to hear about it, and then they get on a Zoom call and they talk back and forth. It's really very personal. I used to technology was a little cold, and I was a little bit afraid of it. And now I realize it's so great because you can see the person and talk to them.
Yes. And I also think about what you really hit me on the head with many, many years ago is I was doing it the way that we used to, and I was going. And my kids made me feel guilty when they were young. And I'll never forget you saying, Nina, you can get a babysitter once in a while during the week, but when they are teens is when you need to be there for them. Yeah. And I look at, we look at the state of our country today, and I think we have such a huge job to do because we need to get families back together.
Absolutely. And one of the things I've always counseled young mothers about is that when you're doing Shackley, do Shackley. And when you're with your children, be with your children. Do not be at a football or a basketball game on your phone trying to talk to someone about Shackley. Do what you're supposed to do when you're there, because that will pay great dividends. And the other thing about that is it relieves you of the stress of thinking, oh, I should be doing Shackley. Oh, I should be with my children. Decide how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, and it will pay dividends for you.
I love that. I love that. So do you have anything else that you think might be a beneficial tidbit for young moms. That's the thing that I really think is for young moms. That's where my heart is, because I
Yeah.
think that's where we'll make a huge difference is with young moms.
Well, I'll say this, that Shackley will never, ever disappoint you. If you've made a decision to do this business, you will find, because it's been my experience, I have found that it never disappointed me. I never felt, oh, I did so much and I didn't get that back. I always, always got more than I gave. And that not only comes from monetary success and rank success, but it also comes from the love of the people that are in your organization. Nina and I have become great personal friends through this business that had we not been in Shackley, would have even known one another.
No, no.
I'm here in northern Michigan, and
Mhm.
there's a great benefit to enriching your lives with the people that you meet in Shackley and through network marketing.
Yes, that is to me. I love people, and that's one of my biggest things.
Yeah.
That the friends that we have around the entire country, eh?
Isn't that true? I can go just about to any state in the union, and I have someone in my business in that state that I could go and visit with,
Yes,
talk to, and stay with.
yes. I was gonna say I don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden you disappeared.
I've got low battery power, it says.
Oh, okay. Well, Mary, I so appreciate you taking the time to do this, and I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from hearing this.
So thank you, Nina.
Thank
See you
you.
in Vegas.